So, welcome to another captivating episode of Heart to Heart. If you enjoy the content we're bringing on this channel, don't hesitate. Hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and ring the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest episodes. Well, today we have the pleasure of hosting an incredible guest. She wears many hats and is a true powerhouse. She's not only a devoted wife and loving mother, but also a successful businesswoman, a creative blogger, and a dynamic YouTuber. Well, it is the one and only Mekenze Limiri. Mekenze, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you. That was so nice.
Well, you must be used to this, right? Because
No, no, not at all.
oh, well, we very happy to have you on the podcast. Looking forward to our conversation. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward for people to, our viewers to know about you, to know about the great things you doing, you and your family. So let's dive in. Well,
Yes.
I'm gonna start off with I read something on your YouTube channel, and you said I'm really bad at describing myself and my channel. I'm sure you recall because I'm
Mhm.
multi-layered and complicated. So I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating because first, you as an American married a man from Kenya, and you, your husband, and your three lovely children live. You actually live in Kenya, and not only that, you run multiple successful businesses, and you've opened up your home sort of, to the world because, you blog and, you make videos about your family, about your day-to-day life with your family, which I think is, super, super beautiful, super cute. And you've really shown that you can do it all. That's how I see you. You can do it all. And I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating. And so before we get into all that good stuff, I always like to give my guests an opportunity to talk about their childhood. And it's very interesting because it really allows our viewers and listeners to know more about you, to have a better understanding of, where you came from, how you grew up, what was your hometown like when you were a child, what are some of the memories that you're still holding on to.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, first of all, and to talk to you. Thank you for having me. Um, so my childhood and growing up and all of that. So I was born and raised in Utah. And when I was 8 years old, I moved to southern Utah. So I was born more northern, which I think is what most people think of when they think of Utah. They think of the snow and the skiing and the Winter Olympics and all that. But we moved when I was young to southern Utah, which is much more desert
Mm.
uh, and landscape, and it's closer to like Las Vegas um, type of climate. So that's where I grew up, was St. George, Utah, and
Mm.
I am the oldest child in my family. Of I have five siblings, so two. There's five of us total. I have two brothers, two sisters,
Okay.
and then there's me. So I'm the oldest, and so I just kind of grew up being like the responsible one, the bossy one, the one that's the one always like bossing my siblings around. And I grew up with a very loving mom and dad, and just a really good childhood, and very active. And I grew up doing a lot of like sports and extracurricular things, music. We took piano lessons very seriously,
Mm.
um, violin and orchestra. in like the elementary school and middle school and high school years. And then a lot of dancing, musical theater, singing, stuff like that. So we were always very doing something. We'd go to school, and then after school, we were either doing a sport or some kind of practice or rehearsal or something. So I grew up doing a lot of that. Um, I also grew up in a very religious family and town and state. I think a lot of people will know when they think of Utah, they think of Mormons. I did grow up in LDS church, which a lot of people refer to it as the Mormon church.
Yeah.
I did grow up in the church, and that also played a big part in just my upbringing because it's a very high demand kind of all encompassing religion where it you know you're raised in it and it's just a part of the air you breathe basically. So yeah, so a lot of good memories. I don't know if you have like specific questions about that, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. Very busy, very active, good childhood. A lot of us, full house, a lot of siblings. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big family. If family, so you have all of you together, five children.
Mhm.
That's a big family. And so I also know you talked about your musical background,
Mhm.
which I was very surprised because you can sing, girl. You can sing. Not just that, but you can also dance. And I came across a music video that you've done, and you were, lead singing and you were dancing, and I was just watching. I was like, "Is that Mackenzie?" Like, but I tell you what, that is amazing. That's amazing. So you started when you were young, and you actually, grew up in music and doing music as well.
Yeah, yeah, that was a very big part of my upbringing, and that was what I really, really wanted to pursue. Like I had those big dreams that you have when you're young. They really revolved around uh, music and singing and performing. Like at one point, my big dream was to be on Broadway and live in New York City and all of that. So I did have that kind of um, path that I was trying to go down, and that I thought that I thought that that was going to be my thing. So yeah,
I
it
mean,
was something I took it seriously.
you did. You very good at it. Like, you're very good at it. I mean, I think the music video is the song was called "We Are Ready." We are ready,
Oh
and
yeah.
you were ready. You were absolutely ready. But um, good job. I thought that I'll bring it up. That was I was very surprised. But good job. You do have yeah, you have great background in music for sure. Um, and so I want you to talk to us about how you met your husband, because I know the story of how you met your husband is fascinating, because I know, because I follow you. I'm on your YouTube. I follow you on Instagram. So I know, of that story. And for those who don't know, I want you to take the opportunity to talk to us about it, kind of take us through that moment when you first met, and share what drew you two together.
Okay, sure. Um, so George, my husband, he, like you said, he was born and raised in Kenya, and he came to US as a student. He first was living in Georgia, going to school, and then he transferred to UNLV in Las Vegas. So that landed him in Las Vegas, which I kind of mentioned before is very close to where I'm from, St. George, Utah. It's about an hour and 20 minutes away. Um, so he was at UNLV, and I told you about the Broadway dreams I had and the musical theater dreams. So those are really I was in college in Pittsburgh actually pursuing a musical theater major
Mm.
and a dance minor. I was there. And then after my freshman year, I just had a huge just shift and a huge just change of heart. And I didn't feel like that was the path for me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And back home, I moved back home after my freshman year, dropped out of musical theater school. And so I was just here at my parents' house and didn't really know where I wanted to go next. I still wanted to pursue music, but I wanted to go more the route of just maybe doing singing and being a recording artist rather than the, you know, live musical theater performing. So I was here trying to figure out my next step. And George, although he was going to school at UNLV, he's just always been very entrepreneurial, and he has started his own independent music label where
Wow.
he was where he already had an artist that he had signed, and he was, they were doing projects in the studio, putting out music and stuff, and he was looking for a female artist, a female singer to do some music projects with. And it just so happened that a friend that I grew up with and that I grew up dancing with was also going to UNLV. A conversation happened between my friend and George because they were in, I think they had like some classes together, or friends. He told her that he was looking for a singer, and she introduced us because of that, because she knew that I was back at home. And yeah, so she's the one that connected us, and we connected just the first time Facebook. Like it was, oh, the whole like Facebook Messenger thing where we're just awkwardly saying hi, like trying to, figure out who I'm trying to figure out who is this guy.
Yeah.
He's telling me he has a music label and all this stuff. But I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but I guess it was convincing enough for me to want to go and meet him and just see what it was all about. So I did do that. I drove to Las Vegas and we met and talked and went over some stuff, and it just happened that we just gelled very well. Like I I don't know. Ever since then, like from that first moment we met, I agreed to do some music projects with him. Probably the next week, I think it was, we were in the studio together, and then just from that time on, we were pretty inseparable, just like in each other's lives. From that,
So sweet.
like I'm not kidding. It was just like from that moment on led us to where we are now. It was just a whirlwind of um I don't know, of doing music, and then also obviously developing a relationship. And yeah. I
One
don't Did
thing
that
led to
cover
another.
another very quickly actually. So we met in let's see, we met in, I believe it was February of 2012,
Hmm.
and married in December of that same year. So in less than a year, we had met and gotten married. So all of those in between months, that was when, yeah.
That's so cute. That's so beautiful. What a beautiful story. And so
Mhm.
because I remember when your husband talked about it, he was like, this was love at first sight.
For him, it was,
Like he
yeah.
saw you and he was like, who is this? And he was, he didn't wait. He was
No, he
like
did it.
straightforward.
Very straightforward. Very straightforward and very just confident, and something I had, like, personality that I had just never experienced before. Like just a confidence and just a magnetism to him. I don't know, but I guess he did a good job because he hooked me pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Less than a year. Wow. Uh,
Less than a
bravo. Bravo. So eventually you got married. You got married here in the United States. Um,
Mhm.
and when was that time that you decided, you know what? Because I think you moved from the United States to living to Kenya. That's a significant life decision, right? And so what were some of the driving factors and motivations that brought you to Kenya, that brought you to that decision? You know what? Let's go live to Kenya.
Yeah, so to kind of like describe the motivation behind it, I think because people wonder and ask us sometimes, like, how did you jump from doing music to like living in Kenya? Now you're doing farming. Like, what's going on? How did you get from that point to this point? And I think what it was we quickly just started realizing that it wasn't even so much about the music that excited us, it was about the business side
Mm.
of industry of the music industry.
Hmm.
And that was kind of our first experience of like doing business together. And I think the love for business and the passion for business almost even outweighed like the passion for music. So we kind of quickly just evolved into doing some other businesses, which then just had our mind very fixated on business and opportunity and building something from scratch together, kind of like a legacy type of mindset, entrepreneurial mindset of just wanting to build something great from scratch, I guess. And so that's kind of where our mind started heading, and it led us to Kenya. Um, that was one of the main things was just um, realizing that a lot of things that we wanted, including business opportunity, including like just so many of our interests all just kept landing us to Kenya. Like there's so many reasons it up moving there. One major reason was wanting to raise our kids there. We homeschool our kids, and we just knew that the environment would be so conducive for raising young kids and so good for them to have like a multicultural experience as they're growing up and having their minds open to like America isn't the only place, just so that was a reason. And then like I said, the business and the ideas we had just were very conducive to Kenya. Like George is very passionate about, he grew up in just like an agricultural community. His grandmother was really in big with farming, just everyone around him. So he just loves that. He loves like farming. And so that was a passion of his that also like landed nicely, obviously. In Kenya, it's much easier to do that there than it is here. And then also, yeah, just the opportunity side where Kenya is, it's such like a dynamic developing country right now
Yeah.
where so much growth is happening, so much potential, so much possibility. So just kind of that combination of those things, like our kids, our family life, wanting to be around his family, um, the farming life, the being around just um, such a beautiful atmosphere, um, and then the business stuff as well. So it was kind of just all of that combined is what led us there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And, watching your videos, you guys, you know, since I started watching your videos, I want to go to Kenya now. I want to visit Kenya. It's, so beautiful. You guys, the way you're showing it off, it's like, you're showing off the beauty of this country. It's nice to see. So, growing up in America almost all your life, then you move to Kenya, you have children there, raising them up. Did you encounter any challenges? I want you to talk about the challenges and the joys of raising children in Kenya while embracing both the American and the Kenyan cultures.
Um, the I would say because we moved there at the ages where they're still young enough where they're very malleable and very just open-minded, I don't think on their end for the kids there hasn't been too many challenges, to be honest. Like their kids are just so they're not stuck in their ways, you know, they're gonna go wherever mommy and daddy are going. They're gonna
Absolutely.
find ways to be creative and find ways to be happy. And so on their end, there wasn't too many challenges on that part. Now, like with little things like for instance, like food, like transitioning because the food there is obviously very different
Hmm.
than it is here. And so little things like that, just trying to adjust um, and you know, getting used to the climate, getting used to just the pace of life, the day-to-day pace, those kinds of things for the kids, I would say, is just the adjustments that they had to go through. But um, not so many, like, it's not, it hasn't been changing in that way.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I mean, of course, don't get me wrong, there's challenges, but I think the challenges are more just trying to settle there, trying
Yeah.
to like when we first moved to our house, we didn't have water. Like we didn't have a water source. All we had was a big tank that we were collecting rainwater from. And so we had to find a way to get more consistent water and like just things like that. Like the things that, because where we settled, obviously, we're in a very like rural area. So there's
Hmm.
just challenges being there in that setting. But Kenya is just it's a it like you said, you want to go there just after seeing it. It really is so like I'm not trying to sell anything when I'm doing my videos. That's literally just, it's just so beautiful and it's so peaceful. Um and I guess like of course there's challenges, but I can't really just like pinpoint
Yeah.
uh, too many of the challenges. I think the challenges are more just the challenges that come from moving so far away from like where I'm from, like
Yeah.
missing my family, my sisters and my brothers, my parents and my little baby niece who's only not even 2 years old yet, like feeling like I'm missing out on some of her like, you know, when she's a baby, some of her most like her most early milestones and being away from like Target, like I can't go just grab stuff at Target, like
That's right.
I think but that would happen no matter where I moved. That's just a part of relocating, you know? Um, so yes, there are challenges, but when people ask me like, "What's the hardest part?" I'm like, I can't like tell you a specific challenge that stands out. It's just a lot. It is a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. And I just love, I love your family. Like, even the way you just take your kids everywhere, you know. I see the joy in their faces, like they're part of what you guys are doing. And that I love that. And I see the joy and the smiles on their faces, and so, like you said, and it's just, and I asked this question because it was maybe more on your part because, like, as you said, the kids are just, they're gonna go with whatever their parents wants. But it was more on your side. Did you find it challenging, like you talked about the food, for instance? Do you have a um do you have a favorite Kenyan dish that you like? Because you've lived there since what, 2019?
So we moved there officially in 2019, came back because of COVID, and then moved back out in 2022. So it was kind of a little break in between, but yeah, we've been there a good amount of time.
Yeah, but you've adjusted with everything else, like the food, and I know in Kenya they speak Swahili.
Yeah.
I don't know if can you speak it? Can you understand it?
I understand a bit of Swahili and
Oh,
I'm to speak. I love that language so much.
it's so
I
beautiful.
love hearing Kimeru, which is because there's a lot of different languages depending on the town you're in, the part of Kenya that you're in. There's so many languages. So my husband and the people in Meru speak Kimeru, and I don't. Which is difficult. That's the one that just goes
Right.
right over my.
You're like, I'm good. I'll stick with Swahili.
I keep practicing and learning that one, but yeah, and the food I love. I mean, I feel so. dang healthy when I'm in Kenya. Like I just differently. There's so much fresh like produce, fruits. I could eat just fruit. We eat a lot of fruit out there because it's
Yeah.
just so good. Like mangoes, we have a mango tree in our compound. We have an avocado tree, which is like, are
Wow.
you I come back here to the States and I remember like, tiny avocados that fortune and we have an avocado tree in our compound. Um so yeah, I've definitely adjusted. I do like the food there. I do miss variety when I'm out there because, here in the US it's like everything's at your fingertips. Like so
Yeah.
much variety, so much and out there I do miss that, but I
Mhm.
do love it's good. It's fresh and delicious and healthy, so I
No
can't
processed food, no processed food, right?
yeah, hardly.
Hardly. Oh, thank you for sharing that. I love that. I love that. Everyone should go to Mackenzie's YouTube channel and watch those videos. I mean, I just sit there and bench watch. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. It's beautiful to see what you guys are doing. And you also mentioned homeschooling. You homeschool your children. I remember when our two boys were little, I thought about homeschooling them and started doing research on it. And I was like, this is overwhelming. Like, who's, I know people do that, but there was just a whole lot of, things that I had to manage, and I know homeschooling can come with its own challenges and rewards. Can you share some of the most significant ones you've experienced as a homeschooling mother?
Sure. Yeah, homeschooling, it's kind of one of those things where if you're looking at it from the outside, it looks so overwhelming, but just once you dive in, you figure it out and it really becomes not too confusing or there's just so many ways to go about it too. So everyone can kind of find their style. And I think some of the biggest rewards from it are probably the obvious ones where our kids it makes it very easy to be able to travel back and forth and travel where we need to go and just have our own routine and
Mhm.
schedule and customize it to our life. So it makes it really nice to be able to do things where we say, all right, we're taking school off for the day. We're going to go on a safari and go look at the forest and go find elephants. Like that's literally a field trip that we've taken before. So just doing those adventurous things together, I think it just goes so nicely with, kids having an education and doing their school and like, I don't know, also getting these real world experiences. And so that's one of the rewarding parts for sure. And the flexibility of it as well, being able to take breaks when we want to take breaks and, um, you know, some of the challenges of it would just probably be, just as the kids are getting older, they all, kids learn also differently and individually. So I feel like our oldest Lucas, he's very good at just being independent with his work,
Mm.
opening up school lessons, getting it done, staying focused, while maybe, you know, the other kids or maybe my daughter, she more needs someone right there next to her to keep her like focused because she just
Absolutely.
didn't have like the same type of like attention span, which is fine. And I can recognize it in them that they learn differently. So I guess I don't know if I would call it like it's not a negative thing, but it can be like challenging to try to like manage their learning styles
Yeah.
simultaneously, you
Yeah.
know? But that's what teachers do in classrooms. So I can't imagine doing it with like a whole classroom full of kids. But it's nice because I can individually kind of help them in the ways that they need help, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah. Oh,
mhm.
that's good. I'm glad you share that. Um, I know somebody is wondering about homeschooling, so um, Mackenzie, you just gave us some tips here. So thank you for that. Thank
Yeah.
you for that. So you and your husband own a farm
Mhm.
called Limiri Farm in Kenya. Um, I want you to talk to us about that. Talk to us about Limiri Farm. What kind of activities or products we can find on the that you offer to customers. Talk to us about it.
Okay. Yeah, so Lemiri Farms, our three main products that we have at the moment is pork, uh, honey, and coffee. So we started when we first got there to Kenya in 2022. We started with 11 piglets because we knew we wanted to do pig farming and offer pork, and we were excited to just dive into it. We had never like raised pigs before, neither of us, but we had just done a lot of research and we're excited to dive in. So we started with 11 of them, and now I believe I have to call George and ask what the count is now, but it should be somewhere around like 70 pigs because so many of them have been giving birth recently, so many of the mothers. So because yeah, so it's going well, and we have like a big right in time probably for Christmas. We'll have a big amount of pork available for our Kenyan customers, which is exciting. The pork we did have our first round of pork, and it went really well. People really loved it, and it just was some of the best tasting pork I've ever had.
Wow.
Just because we're committed to making sure we're raising the pigs like a clean way, giving them the most nutritious feeds and keeping them um, in a very good environment. So that affects the quality of the meat a lot, and it's really just really high quality. So it's really delicious. And then honey, we have 20 hives. I think about 10 or 11 of them have colonies right now, and we just harvest whenever, we can't really control the when the harvests happen for the honey because we just have to wait on the bees and the vegetation and the amount of rain we get kind of determines how quickly they fill the hives. So but we're gonna just keep growing that one because honey is we have a huge waiting list of people that are waiting for honey and we cannot keep up with the demand whatsoever. So we're trying our best to just expand it and again keep it really high quality and organic and pure. And then with the coffee, that's our newest product. We just launched it, and that one's also available here in US. So it's exciting to have a product that's branching both worlds, Kenyan customers, US customers. Hopefully, we can even grow beyond that and have it just be available in all countries. But yeah, that's going really well. We've sold out of our first launch, the amount we had for that, and we're working on the second round right now. So we will have that available soon.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you have a website where people can actually go and buy the coffee?
So we're working on that as well. So yeah, so we will the best way to just stay up to date on all of that is through like our Instagram and social media. So we do have like the Lemiri Farms Instagram. It's called Lemiri Farms Kenya. And then we have a Lemiri Farms coffee Instagram page. So if people just want to stay tuned in for the coffee, my sister is partnered with us here in US, and she runs the Lemiri Farms coffee Instagram page. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to get a hold of us, but social media and then our email address, which is lemirifarms@gmail.com.
Yeah.
People can inquire or ask whatever they need through there in the meantime.
Wow. I need to put in my order because I know Kenya is one of the countries that has one of the best coffees. I think it's
It's
Kenya. Yeah, Kenya, Jamaica, but I know Kenya coffee is good. So, um absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad you shared that with us. And one more, in addition to your business portfolio, you and your husband have a safari travel business. This is amazing. Amazing. I told you guys, like, I told you guys. Safari travel business. Please talk to us about that. And what makes Limiri travels unique? And what kind of experiences can travelers expect when they choose your services?
So, yes, Lemuri travels. So, what makes it unique, I would say, a big thing that makes it unique is that, well, my husband, George, he guides personally the trips, which makes it just this really authentic, amazing experience to have someone who is a Kenyan guiding the trips because believe it or not, a lot of the companies that you can book safaris through, a lot of them are Kenyan owned.
Mm,
Um, so when you have a Kenyan owned company and it's guided by someone who's just going to make sure you're seeing like it through an authentic lens,
mm,
um, it makes it special. And he just does a really good job of taking care of the people that travel with us because a lot of them it's their first time even setting foot in Africa
mm,
and know that they want to feel very comfortable and secure, so that makes it unique. And also just we have a really great itinerary. It's about a 10-day, our most common one is a 10-day itinerary where we take people to a lot of different spots, including some of the most famous like Masai Mara, but then some of like even some of the places we go are just very unique and authentic and lesser known, and just gorgeous. And there's just it's like jam-packed itinerary of just beauty and amazing campsites and wildlife and locals and getting just such a rich experience. Yeah, so it whoever whoever has the people who have traveled with us so far have all had an amazing experience. So it's a
wow,
lot of fun. When people come see Kenya for the first time, I get so excited.
well, because of you, Kenya is now on my list. Countries for me to visit. But do you have like a booking period, or how soon can people actually go and book?
You can book, so you we book year round,
Hmm.
during high season, off season. So we don't put together like group, like we don't have set dates for our trips. We just if there's solo travelers or there's a couple
Okay.
or there's a family or there's a friend group or whatever the situation is, we can customize something to them. So it can be any time of year as long as we're not already booked, um, with some, or have something else on our calendar that's then we can schedule a trip, and they can be different lengths. They can be shorter, a little shorter or longer than 10 days. So yeah, we just it's basically like you come to us, tell us what you're looking for, or just tell us you want to come to Kenya, and we can chat back and forth and get it perfect for you, perfect for our travelers, and get it on the calendar, get it booked.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'll be reaching out very soon. I'll be reaching out. Yeah. As you said, there's a lot going on with you. Okay. There's a lot going on with you, which is good. It's a good thing because, as I said before, you have shown that you can do it all. And I love that, you know, and that's really fascinating. My next question is, how do you balance between your roles as a wife, as a mom, blogger, YouTuber, and owner of multiple businesses? How do you do it? Do you have any tips for others trying to manage various responsibilities?
um, I think I think for me, it the way to stay balanced is I make sure that everything I've gotten to the point where everything that I allow into my life, or the things that I decide to commit to, or the things that I'm going to spend my time doing, they all are very, very intentional. So what I
Mm,
mean mean by that is I don't really allow um I don't really allow filler things in my life. I don't allow things that I feel are going to be a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of mental, and or emotional bandwidth. I just have gotten to the point where I'm very, like, I guess the best word is intentional.
National, yeah.
And that's why it looks like it may look like to somebody who's looking in at what we're doing, like we're doing so many things that like how we're doing so many things that are just like on this broad spectrum, from like vlogging or and travel and farm and all this stuff, but it all just really is cohesive for us in our life. And I think that's the reason it works, is because everything is like a puzzle piece. Like if there's not room for it on the puzzle and it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't gel with everything else we're doing, like we just don't really let it in. And I think a lot people, I think, let their schedule take control of them.
Mm.
But I I don't know if it's my personality or what it is, but I'm just very like I really protect like my space and my family space and our bubble, I guess, and don't let in stuff that isn't going to be productive, isn't going to be making sense for our life. And I think that's the key for me.
Wow. So
That's
the main thing is you're intentional about the things that you do. That's the main
yeah.
thing. Wow. And do you have some type of schedule during the day? Because you have the kids and that you have to attend to, you have your husband that you have to attend to, and you have all these businesses. Like, how do you keep yourself in track with everything else?
I th- it's just, first of all, I think it also is like I really truly genuinely love excuse me, love everything that
Mm.
I'm doing. So it almost doesn't even feel like work necessarily. It's like I like, for instance, the whole process we've just gone through with the coffee, getting
Yeah.
it prepared for customers. I genuinely was so like excited about that. It was so fun figuring it out, getting like the packaging figured out, getting the logistical stuff figured out. Yes, there's challenges, but it's like it's when you really, really love what you're doing and just feel very aligned with it.
Mm.
Um, it doesn't even feel like this rigid thing where you have to schedule out like, okay, now I have to work. Now I have to take care of the kids. Now I have to take care of this. It's like just this big, like, I don't know, like this big pot that I'm just stirring where all of the things in it are like things I genuinely love, if that makes sense. Like
It
it's
does make sense because that's how we think here. You're an American, so that's how things go here. You got to have a schedule. A, B, C, and D. I have to do it in this order.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Yes, and I think I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have a calendar. I have like I take things probably like a week or two at a time. I look at my calendar and I'll like insert things in, but I'm not afraid to like adjust it if I need to, if it's feeling too overwhelming.
Mhm.
But so I'm that way, and I'm very American like that too. Like moving was like poof, like first like mind-boggling in every way because there's no schedule there. There's no routine. This is so funny, but I'm so serious about this. I looked for a day planner in Kenya so many days. I looked in all the supermarkets. I looked, and I finally gave up because I could not find one. All I could find was just like a calendar, but like
Yeah,
an actual schedule, like day planner. I'm sure they exist there, but for some reason I couldn't find one. And I was like, okay, like I surrender. Like, okay, there's no schedule that I need to be that strict on. I'm just gonna live life
yeah.
and take it the time and figure it out. And it's been working so far. So
Wow, I'm glad you shared that. That was a good answer. You love what you do, and and you're intentional about the things that you do. I love that. Um, Again, what advice would you offer to other couples, especially those navigating culture differences?
Advice, I would just say a really, really large amount of just patience
Mm,
and just remembering that you come like everyone, it doesn't matter if you're from the same culture or different, but everyone is coming with their own stuff to a relationship. Everyone's had their own a different upbringing, a different childhood, a different set of rules, beliefs. So that that takes a lot of just like patience to figure out in each other. And yeah, it just takes a lot of patience and a lot of just being willing to communicate and really understand the other person. And you if you truly like love someone and want to build a life with someone, you have to take them as they are,
mm.
and and they're wired very differently, and love them through that.
Oh,
And if
so beautiful.
reciprocate if that's reciprocated, then it can work, then it works out. If you just it sounds cheesy, but just love
It's beautiful.
and patience is just all those cliche things, but I think it is true.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love the fact that you've kept your authenticity, but at the same time you've embraced your husband's culture, like the Kenyan culture, very well. So I love that about you. Well done. Well done.
Thank
Well done. Because we watching, and we can see what's happening. So you have the pig farm, you have the honey, you have the coffee farm. What's next? Oh, also have the travel, the safari travel. What's next?
Um, so what's next is just expanding all of the things. Just expanding, and now I think we've gotten to the point where we've really set ourselves up in a lot of different ways with all the different things, and now we're excited to just like expand and enrich all of those things. So like for instance with the coffee, this first round we sourced it from some local farmers, and now we are in the process of actually even planting our own coffee
Wow.
and do the actual production of it. So that's exciting. Um, with and then with like the pig farm, right now there's construction going on to just build that up so that it can hold more animals, a larger number. So just expansion and growth. Um, and then like with the travel company, we are hoping, I'm not sure when, but like something on the map for us is to be able to have invest in a land cruiser so that we have a second safari vehicle to be able to use on safari. So just things like that. Now going very like um, going deeper with all of the things we're doing and just making them better and growing that way. So
Wow. I see why you love what you do. It's beautiful. Beautiful. I'm sure it's exciting um, to work on those future projects. That's really good. We'll be watching, and we'll be there watching the progress of everything. Um,
I'll keep everyone I'll keep everyone tuned in.
that's great. So, um, I know you're on Instagram, but I know this, but for those who don't know, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so it's just my Instagram is just my first and last name, which the spelling, I know is crazy. It's I don't know if you want me to spell it out, but
Unique. Yeah, I meant to ask you that. I said I've never seen
no,
Mackenzie being
I've
spelled that
never
way. You're so special. That's all. You're very special.
I oh, my name is very special. Yes, it's spelled in a very special way. That's a nice way to put it. Yeah, Mekenze, and then Limiri is Limiri. So Mackenzie Limiri. That's just how you'll find me on Instagram. If you type in Mackenzie in Kenya, I should come up because I did used to have that as my handle. Um, and then same thing for just all my social media is just my name.
That's awesome. And we'll also have all your information, down below so people can just go there and click and, get in contact with you. Ah, Mackenzie, I feel like I've known you for years. I feel like I've known you for a long time. And, you just have a genuine heart. It's really what I see is what's been presented today. And I just love it. I love your heart. I love the your family adventures, the way you display your family. It's just so beautiful, and I'm really grateful that you took the time to come on the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I This was so fun and I appreciate you for just inviting me on. Like I said, like this isn't a normal thing to have people want to just ask questions about what we have going on, but I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow. Well, tell George that it went well, because I know I know he's probably wondering, how did the interview, how did it go? But please say hi to your family, say hi to George. All the best, on everything you're working on. We love you guys, and we'll keep watching.
Thank you so much.